Welcome to another edition of the show. And we have a first-timer on the show. Never been on the show before. I'm very, very excited. Been a fan of his work since the 1980s, I believe, is when I first became aware of that you were a person. And not only that, but in the entertainment business. But he's been working since the 1970s.
Yes.
I believe, did you start stand-up, and I'll introduce you in a second, in 1970?
I think it could have even been 69.
69, really? The Summer of Love.
Horrible.
Woodstock was happening.
Yeah.
Free love was the rule of the day.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for that.
It hasn't come around to you?
Yeah, it's just like I'm still waiting for, comedians are the new rock stars, and they just get laid constantly.
You keep hearing about that, right?
Yeah.
And it never happens.
Yeah, like what club, what city is this going on?
I do want to introduce you. He started out as a stand-up in '69, apparently, and worked tirelessly, became known as a comedian's comedian. Then segued into the second cast of Saturday Night Live in 1980. Did about 12 shows, I think, of that, or 14 shows?
Yeah, if it even was a full 12.
Did you ever get to say, and I'll introduce you in a second, live from New York?
Oh, yes.
You got to say it?
Once, yeah.
Oh, what a thrill.
But that season really was just the worst season to be on.
Was Don Pardo there? Did he say your name?
Yes.
Gilbert Gottfried.
Yes. Yeah, that was good. That was, having Don Pardo say it.
And you're in the G, by the way, and I guess I just did introduce you, but I haven't gone across your entire career. But of course, we know him as the ultimate stand-up. Gilbert Gottfried is here. Welcome to the show. Hello.
Oh, hi.
Such a pleasure to have you.
Well, that's all I have to talk about.
You were in the G's, obviously, Gilbert Gottfried. So you were probably in the sort of early to middle part of the introductions on SNL?
Yeah, I forget exactly where I was, but
fourth maybe.
That was such a bad time to be there.
Yeah,
because that's after the original cast left.
Yeah. So for those of you not in the know of your SNL lore. 5 years into the show, Lorne Michaels goes, you know what? I've done all I can do. Now, he came to rethink that and do about 30 more years after that. But he stepped down. Then you have Bill Murray leaving. You have Harry Shearer was gone already.
Belushi, I don't know.
Everyone was. Belushi probably wasn't even there. Aykroyd, Radner, they all leave.
That's what got me. When we got in, there were a lot of angry complaints like, where's Chevy Chase and John Belushi? And you go, well, didn't you notice they were gone already?
Well, we just, on my TV show, we just announced that Weird Al Yankovic is my new band leader and co-host. And I got so many tweets and messages about, well, where'd Reggie go? And I'm like, he hasn't been there for a year. Reggie left a year. Like, obviously, you're not that upset. You haven't even been watching.
And the other complaint we got is we've never heard of these people before. And it's like, did you hear of Dan Aykroyd before Saturday Night Live? Was he like this big film star?
Like they're supposed to be casting like, Rock Hudson.
Oh, yes.
Like the most famous people in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why I pulled Rock Hudson as the most famous person in the world.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's like stars from the 50s. They should have been putting
Lana Turner, Ava Gardner,
Gig Young,
Nico and the Velvet Underground. So have you ever thought about going back? Did you go back for the 40th anniversary celebration?
Oh, yeah, that I went to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They invited everyone who's ever been on the show.
Yes. And that was like sensory overload.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like everywhere you looked, there was like a celebrity there, and it was weird.
So one of my friends told me that it was an odd experience to be there at the after party where you see Paul McCartney and Taylor Swift singing a duet together.
Oh, yeah.
And they're just wishing that they would pipe down so they could have a conversation with another more famous person.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're looking like one side of the room's Leonardo DiCaprio, the other is God knows.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
and then there's you in the middle.
Yes.
And people are looking at you the same way going, Gilbert Gottfried's here.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
But while I was there, I'm kind of sorry I didn't, but I ran into Miley Cyrus.
Sure. As one tends to do.
Yes.
Everyone should run into her once in their life.
Because I had already worked with her on Hannah Montana.
Oh, I didn't know you were on that.
One episode.
Oh, wow.
One episode. And I remember her showing up in one rehearsal in these tight denim shorts. and I won't say whether or not I jerked off to it because I don't know how old she was when she was doing that.
Sure. Well, we shouldn't even go into it.
I'm afraid I'm going to run into her one day and go, oh, I jerked off when you, and she'll go, oh, thanks, I was 6 at the time. But yeah, and she asked me if I wanted to do tequila shots with her. But
wow. And did you?
No, because I thought I'd be trying to be cool doing tequila shots, and after like one, I'd be like violently throwing up.
It's hard to resist. I've been in that situation where like a famous person goes, hey, do a shot or something.
Yes.
It's hard to resist the lure of the story, at least.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Being able to tell someone later, oh, I did shots last night with Miley Cyrus, that would be amazing.
But yeah, it's one of these things like if I had done the shots, it would be with the thought of like, hey, we'd both get really drunk and then I'd be like fucking her on the stairwell or something.
Sure.
But it would be her looking at me as I'm like throwing my guts up and praying for God to kill me. And
oh my God! Well, that any thought of you going back and hosting the show?
So far, they haven't asked.
Haven't contacted you. Yeah, they'll get around to it.
I'm gonna have to check my messages.
Yeah. Oh, you still have the still have an answering machine at home.
Yes.
35 messages still unplayed. I like answering machines in movies because how else are we going to know who's calling the main character? You know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that became such a plot device.
But they still have them in there where someone literally comes in and presses a button.
Yeah.
It's like no one has these anymore.
Well, it's kind of like movies and TV were the last people to realize that New York cab drivers don't wear like a little newsboy cap, have a cigar stub in their mouth, and go, gee, those Yankees is no good.
Yeah. That's all you used to see up through like maybe the 80s. And then,
Yeah, they finally realized, no white person is driving a cab.
But you grew up in Brooklyn. Was that the way it used to be back then? Did it used to be white people driving cabs? And then
I guess maybe at one time.
Were you taking a lot of cabs as a youngster in Brooklyn?
I never. I mean, to me, when I was growing up, it's like a cab that might as well be a Rolls Royce you were in.
Yeah. You grew up of modest means?
Oh, yes. Yeah. My father owned a hardware store with my uncle in Coney Island in some side street that I never saw anyone go in there. And we lived upstairs from the hardware store? Yeah.
Wow. So was there constantly the noise of like banging and hammers and stuff, or people testing out the goods?
I do remember one time my father, just to get rid of me, he gave me a block of wood, nails, and a hammer to go outside and hammer nails into the wood.
Wow, that's good parenting.
Yeah.
Here's a block of wood and some dangerous nails and maybe even more dangerous hammer.
And I also remember when you were a kid, I remember they just threw you into the car. There were no, like, special seats for kids. No. There were no seat belts.
When I was a kid, they would throw you in the back of a station wagon, like in the back.
Oh, yeah.
And then I remember this all the time, driving around with my church group in the back of a pickup truck down the freeway.
Oh, yeah.
Like, just totally, no safety, no seat belts. You're in the back of a pickup truck. And someone told me once when I was younger, that's actually really dangerous and a lot of people die from that. I was like, come on. I can't imagine it now.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being in the back of a pickup truck on a freeway? Oh.
And I used to ride up front in the front of the car.
Right.
And, but now, boy, you'd be in jail if you had your kid in the front seat.
You have kids, don't you, Gilbert?
Oh, yeah.
How old are they? Do you mind me asking?
Young.
How young are we talking?
I have a son who's 6.
Wow.
And a daughter who's 8.
Wow. So at a certain point, they're going to be 9 and 11. That's kind of insensitive, don't you think? But how do you have young kids? Did you get married recently or?
Oh God, I think 10 years ago.
10 years ago. Congratulations, that's a dream.
I
staying single until you have to.
Yeah.
Well, fantastic! It's such a pleasure to have you here on the show. I mean, you've done such a wide swath of things over the years. You're still out there doing stand-up. We have you here. You just did a show the night before at the Riot LA Comedy Festival.
Yeah.
And you're still out there, and I read reviews of it, and everyone said it was amazing. And, it's still out there doing, rocking the mic, as they say. Did people still say that?
I don't know that they ever did, but I guess so.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like Willie Loman sometimes when I'm going out.
You're just coming back home with setting down your suitcases and wiping your forehead with a washcloth. Honey. How many shows do you do a year, would you say?
Oh, God, endless.
Really?
Yeah.
Probably in the hundreds?
Yeah, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty nutty. I go back home today for like maybe 2 days, and I go to Chicago, and then after that, it's Colorado, and I don't know.
A lot of cities out there in the world.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Surprisingly.
And we talked about this on the show before. Would it be possible to go to every city in the United States in one's lifetime?
Oh.
Every city.
I would think there are some comics who do that like in a month or something.
Right. There's a lot of them out there.
Yeah, there are a lot of those comics who they don't have to have a home.
Right.
Like they're just going from place to place.
What do you like better, home or being out there on stage?
Home. My dream, whenever I'm about to go on stage, is that the manager will come back and say, "Oh, our stage just had a fire. Here's your check. Go."
Even better is before you even leave for the airport.
Yes.
They wire you the money.
Oh, that would be ideal.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So when you go out there to see a Gilbert Gottfried, just know he would rather the stage be on fire than be talking to you.
Well, how much I dread performing. I was booked recently in Maui.
Oh,
yeah.
That's the dream as a comic.
Yeah. I was booked in Maui, like about 4 days there in Maui, Hawaii. And it's like, I found out something happened with the club. It switched hands and they told me, oh, the Maui gig fell through. And I went, oh, great.
I don't have to go to Maui.
I don't have to be out in Maui.
Wow. Gilbert, you've done so much over the years. I mean, in terms of acting, what would you say is your big your big break. I mean, SNL probably was not the big break.
No.
Is it Beverly Hills Cop 2?
That was one of them. But I think, because I did Saturday Night Live, that was a horrible season.
Right.
That was like if in the middle of Beatlemania, John, Paul, George, and Ringo left, and you had 4 other assholes there, and you said,
and that was their names.
Yeah,
the four other assholes.
4 other assholes. Yeah. and so that was horrible.
Yeah.
And then so that bombed, and I thought I
did you think you were done? Is that
I used to think like for the rest of my life, everyone will be looking at me going, "Oh, that's the guy from that horrible season." But it's like when you watch those movies with cavemen battling dinosaurs.
Mm-hmm. Those are my favorites.
Yeah. It's like, they were millions of years apart.
Right.
So I could say I was in any season of Saturday Night.
You were there with Belushi. You were in the original cast.
Yeah, I could mix and match.
Yeah, no one remembers anymore.
Yeah, I could say I was there with Belushi and Jimmy Fallon. We used to do bits together. And so then after that, my other big break, Thick of the Night.
Oh, Thick of the Night. We've had Alan Thicke on the show many times, and his talk show, Thick of the Night. It was only on for 13 weeks or something like that?
Yeah, it was a horrible, horrible show.
Right.
And it was supposed to have knocked. They were advertising it as
it was going to take down Carson.
Yeah, Alan Thicke's going to, and it came true because Carson's not on the air anymore.
Yeah, so it was the slow game.
Yeah, you got to look at the big picture.
Yeah, the long con.
Yeah, and so that was horrible.
Yeah. What did you do on that? Were you a regular on that?
I was one of the resident cast of Zanies.
I've always thought that about how zany you are.
Yes. And I was there with Richard Belzer.
The
was
Bells.
one of the other resident cast of Zanies.
Right.
That was horrible. Mm-hmm. And that one I got fired from, showing that he was ahead of his time.
Right, yeah, he was ahead of the curve on that one.
Yeah. I guess Saturday Night was the first one I was fired from.
You've been fired by so many great jobs.
So many, yes. And with Saturday Night Live, they fired Jean Domanion.
Sure. She was the producer who replaced Lorne Michaels.
Yeah. And so then Dick Ebersol comes in. He brings us together and says, okay, I'm going to make some changes here or there. It won't be anything big. Come back next week. Take 2-3 days off and we'll come back. And so then one by one, we were waiting to go in his office. And I was sitting outside his office, and they had one desk that had a stack of fan letters they used to drop. And I opened up one from a girl from Omaha, and she goes, "Dear Gilbert, I'm so sorry about what happened to you." And so she knew.
She knew before you?
Before I did. Yeah.
How did that happen?
Yeah. She already knew.
Wow.
So I had to act surprised, like a surprise party that you already know. Oh, I had no idea.
The worst surprise party of all.
But so I think the big break was MTV they were in Catch a Rising Star in New York, and they wanted to put together some promos for MTV, and they wanted to, they picked out a handful of comics to come audition. And I went and auditioned and just ad-libbed and blah, blah, blah. And next thing I know, it's already being played on the air.
And they would play them incessantly.
Yes.
Back then. MTV used to do a lot of just interstitial promo type of things for MTV. Jimmy the Cab Driver, of course, all these kind of things. And they would play them over and over and over. So if you're a young kid like I was, you would get to know the people in these things.
It's drilled into your head. And so that's the way these promos were. And they would introduce me as the manager of MTV. And and then I remember I called them up and I said, do I get paid at all for this? And they gave me like $100 or whatever.
Oh, that's nice money back then.
And then my agents, who had not a fucking thing to do with this, took 10%.
Oh, $10?
Yeah. They took 10% out of it.
Oh, man.
But MTV was my first really big break.
And didn't you say once, I think I read that you got a job from those? Or was it Beverly Hills Cop 2? Or was it...
Well...
Someone said, I want the guy from all those promos.
Yes. And that was Cosby before.
Cosby, yes.
When he was known as just an entertainer.
Right. And not the worst monster since Hitler.
When you say, oh, Cosby, with a smile on your face, and you get together with your wife and kids to watch Cosby.
Right. I mean, Hitler put a lot of people to sleep, and Cosby's right there underneath him.
Yeah. And for the longest time, I was trying to block it from my head, saying, oh, well, these girls, they're trying to get money, blah, blah, blah. And then when it reached like 97, I thought,
that's your threshold?
Yeah, I thought maybe that we could listen to both sides.
Any weird Cosby stories from
No, I wish. Yeah.
You did two episodes?
Yeah, I did one episode where he was Dr. Huxtable. Mm-hmm. And that one, that's the one he saw me. He already knew me. Actually, he was a fan of mine from Thick of the Night.
Really? What's he doing staying up watching Thick of the Night?
Yeah, he was probably raping a girl, and the TV was...
This will put you in the mood.
Yeah, and he was... While he was fucking a girl totally unconscious, puking on herself, he was there on top going, "Hey, and that show that I was on, that Cosby, it was already number one, and for some reason, the next day they said it broke records.
It was the most watched episode of Cosby.
Yes,
the
most
Cosby
watched
Show. Sitcom of all time.
Just
the combo of you guys.
Yeah.
Now in traditional sitcoms like Family Matters or something, and Urkel comes out, and it's, they go, we got to get this person on every episode.
Oh, yeah.
That did not happen to you.
No. I wasn't back with Cosby till that other Cosby
The CBS
show.
Cosby?
Yeah, where he's Luke something and retired. He still had the same wife, though.
Right, yeah, very weird. But it was like an alternate universe where he'd made different choices and didn't have the same kids.
Yes.
But still married the same person.
And it was like one of those weird things where, like, the show, it seemed like it never decided what the show was. Mm-hmm. Like each week, it was a totally different sort of premise and the way it worked. And
they kept trying to retool it in the middle.
Yes. And as far as alternative universes, what always gets me is when in a movie where they mention a real life actor or actually have a real-life actor pop up as himself.
Right. So it's a weird universe where that actor exists, but the actors playing the characters do not exist.
Yes. Like they had that Anne Hathaway, Robert De Niro picture on.
The Intern.
Oh, yes. And she mentioned something about Harrison Ford to Robert De Niro. So I said, okay, so this is that universe where Harrison Ford exists, but Anne Hathaway and Robert De Niro do not.
Right. That's a universe where I guess The Godfather Part 2 does not exist. Or someone else is in it.
Yeah.
Who else? Maybe you're in it.
Yes. Yeah. Taxi Driver never happened.
Right. Speaking of alternate universes, do you ever think about an alternate universe where you did not have the career you had, where you made maybe a different choice? You didn't.
Oh, that's scary to me.
What would you be? Where would you be?
I think I really seriously believe this. I think the job I would have are those jobs that Jerry Lewis would have in his movies.
Right.
Like, Jerome, watch my gas station while I go out to lunch.
So like the idiot they don't trust with the gas station until someone's going out to lunch and they have no other choice.
Yes, yeah. And because I remember over the years of me going to the non-paying open mics and everything, there were millions of these comedians I'd see every night for years. And then one day you wake up and they're not there.
They're not there and they just moved home or something.
Yeah. And I think, oh, shit, that could have been me.
Right. You ever think about moving home?
Oh.
Just quitting? Was there a certain decision you could have not have made? Like, was there a decision to go up at age 15 at your first club? Was there a decision to be like, that where you could have just said, I'm too scared, or did you just?
Yeah, well, it's like at that age, I think I was just plain too stupid to know any better. So I was too stupid to know walking out on a stage without really preparing before is stupid, and thinking you're gonna support yourself in show business was stupid. And I always think if my kids were to ask me, like, say they wanted to go in show business, I would think, no, that's idiotic.
Yeah, of course not.
Yeah.
The ads are astronomical against you.
Yeah, it's kind of like saying, well, I'm gonna support myself by buying a lottery ticket and winning $1 billion and living off that. And so it is like I can understand like these homeless people pulling cans out of the garbage and turning it in for refunds. That makes sense to me now.
That's a good business plan.
Yeah. But now, like after a few years, I can't make sense out of show.
Right.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And and now you obviously you have your podcast, which we're going to talk about, but you have such an incredible career in animation and doing voiceover work, and we all know you as Iago from Aladdin, and I saw that the Night of Too Many Stars thing recently.
Oh, yeah. That was that started. I didn't. I found out because there was an article in the New York Times, and there was this guy, Ron Suskind, and he had an autistic son where the autism was getting even worse.
He started sort of like other kids, and then it got worse at age 2 and then 3. He started just kind of going inward and not communicating.
At 6, he was completely
just cut off.
Yeah.
Would not speak to his parents.
Yeah, and didn't, and he admitted later that when his parents spoke to him, it just sounded like gibberish. It sounded like noises. And so the father was trying everything, taking him to different doctors and treatments. Nothing was working, but his son would watch Disney films all day.
The Disney animated films, just all day. And would be fascinated by it.
Yeah. And he just, and so the father with like what the hell? He's found on the floor, the son owned a puppet of my character Iago, the parrot, and the father put the thing on his hand, and he started imitating me, and he said, Owen, how are you? And the son immediately turned to the puppet and said, I'm not happy. I don't have any friends. And that was this breakthrough.
Yeah, amazing. And that's how the father then started communicating with his son for the first time in many years.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And then you went to the son's school?
Yeah, they invited me because the son went to a school for autistic kids, and he used to have a Disney club there, and they were going to be doing Aladdin, reciting it to each other, and they had me come in as a surprise, just like swing the door open, and they went nuts.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you ever think about, a lot of times when you complete a job, it's, you do it for a paycheck or you do it for, this will be a really great time or artistic sort of satisfaction. But you never really think about something down the line where your work could touch someone like that.
Yeah. And it taught me I can do great things as long as I'm not directly involved.
Right. Have someone else arrange you showing up to the school.
If I do it, it'll fuck up everything. But as far as autism, I really followed the teachings of Jenny McCarthy and Jim Carrey. Yeah, because I haven't had my kids vaccinated.
Oh, really?
Yeah, both of them have polio.
Oh, well.
But hey, you take the good with the bad.
Yeah. As Alan Thicke once sang in the Facts of Life theme song.
And Alan Thicke's theme song to Thick of the Night.
What was it?
He wrote and sang it.
Of course.
And it was Mama, don't leave the light on. I'm on the road tonight. Everyone needs a dream to cling to. I wanna make it on my own. Running in the thick of the night. Under the city lights. Running in the thick of the night.
Wow. What a voice. Who knew that guy's son would sell millions and millions?
Oh, yeah, but wind up getting sued.
Sure, yeah. What was the first lyric? Mama don't good
Mama don't leave the light on.
Oh, yeah.
Which in Alan Thicke speak is
Oh, fantastic.
But I knew I knew when Alan Thicke started gaining fame that marriage would fall apart. I started suspecting that because he's a big, handsome rock star.
Right.
But then when I saw that, blurred lines where he's dancing with these naked models.
That's a little like flaunting it in the middle,
Yeah, and I thought, this is definitely a divorce.
I remember when that video came out, everyone involved in it, from Pharrell to T.I. to Robin Thicke, had to make a statement of like, oh no, we're all happily married men.
Oh,
that was just, And then they start dropping like flies. First Robin Thicke.
Oh, yeah. You're surrounded by naked models all day.
Right.
Sorry.
One of them on the Bang Bang TV show on our Zach Galifianakis Dream episode. She was a joy to work with.
Which one?
The blonde one.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you remember?
I remember her tits. I don't remember.
That is not my experience when she was on my show.
I remember there was the other girl, Yaka Rotsky.
Emily Ratajkowski, of course, yes. Gilbert, we have to talk about your podcast. It's the Amazing Colossal podcast. And this is a show where it's interesting because a lot of comedians, when they start a podcast, they just have other comedians on and they just talk about comedy. You have comedians on, but you also talk to people from projects from your past that inspired you, older actors who have been in things.
I had on Adam West.
Batman, of course, the original Batman. Well, not the original.
Julie Newmar.
One of the Catwomen.
And also I think the other one was Lee Merriweather.
And Eartha Kitt.
Yes. Yeah. So I had Lee Merriweather also.
Oh, wow.
And I had Boris Karloff's daughter, Bela Lugosi's son.
Wow.
I had this girl. She was now she's almost 80. But she's still alive. She was a little girl in the movie Ghost of Frankenstein.
Oh, wow. From back in the 20s or 30s?
Not like 40s.
Right.
And she talked about playing hide and go seek with Lon Chaney Jr. and Bela Lugosi.
Wow.
And just recently, 2 days ago, as a matter of fact, I came out here and interviewed Dick Van Dyke.
Oh, I saw a little picture of this. And you said on your Twitter that you sing a song.
Oh yeah,
a duet
we sang 2 duets.
Was it the Alan Thicke "Thick of the Night" theme song?
Yes.
Mama don't leave the lane.
Yeah, because it turns out Dick Van Dyke,
Big Thick of the Night fan.
Always modeled himself after Alan.
Always going over to Cosby's house saying, "Let's turn on the TV."
Yeah.
So what did you? Was it Mary Poppins songs? What did you?
Supercalifragilistic.
Sure.
And put on a happy face.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I got to sing with Dick Van Dyke.
Fantastic. Did you ask him about that mystery show where he and his son would go around solving mysteries? Cosby had a show like that, too.
Oh, that's right. Well, there was, Diagnosis Murder.
Diagnosis Murder, yeah.
Was his.
And the Cosby Mysteries was...
The Cosby Mysteries was...
there are a few mysteries I wish he would have investigated.
Yes.
Let's call Cosby on these ones.
Like, why is that girl so incoherent?
The Cosby Mysteries SVU. And Belzer could be in that, too.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
yes.
This is a show. That's amazing. So Dick Van Dyke, big influence on you? I mean, the Dick Van Dyke show?
I mean,
did you watch that?
He's one of those people where you're sitting there going, God, I went to his house, and his wife goes, hey, come out. And you see Dick Van Dyke walking down the hallway, and you go, oh, my God. This person doesn't exist in real life.
Right. Did he do like kind of a little like jump and click his heels together?
He tripped over the ottoman.
Right. Wow. He's contractually obliged anytime he's seen in public to bring his own ottoman and trip over it.
Yeah.
Kids, that's a reference to something you may not know.
And he did say on the show that he and this other comedian, there was an older comedian named Orson Bean.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And they were friends, and they would hang out together, and sometimes they'd kill time at the zoo, where he said they had this big, very old chimp in a cage that would smoke a cigar and jerk off. and to have Dick Van Dyke tell you about monkey jerking off.
That is, I mean, you've achieved everything you could achieve in show business.
It's like the McNeil Lair Report.
This must be a thrill for you to be reunited with this man, Gilbert. You were on the cast of Celebrity Apprentice.
He fired me.
Another one of your great firings.
Yeah, just when he said, Gilbert, you're fired, I thought, heard that one before.
That makes sense. And that'll happen in the future with the Aflac duck, sure.
Yeah, exactly.
We have, of course, they are out there working on their campaigns as of now, and who knows how long they'll be out there. Maybe they'll both be the presidential nominees of the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. But we have Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders. Hello, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for having us. Really appreciate it.
That's right.
Yeah, it's so nice. I've never met either. Well, Bernie, you've been on the show before.
Sure, I've been on. About 6 months ago, I think I was on the program.
6 months ago, yeah.
And I haven't been here, but it's great to be home with you, Gilbert. I really appreciate seeing you again. You really disappointed me once again on that team building challenge. And I'm very sorry. I'll say it again. You're fired, and you will not come back ever to whatever I do. In fact, I probably will hunt you down and execute you with a drone if I become president.
Gilbert, I don't know if you noticed, but I'm in some ways the opposite of Donald here. So I know when you were fired, I saw it and I heard about it, and I've been sending you a small check ever since.
You've been sending Gilbert some of your money.
Just a little, sure. Just a little bit I had laying around. I don't like money. It's bad.
Yeah.
So sure, just a little annuity. I just sent you a little bit here or there.
Do you do that a lot, Bernie? Do you, like, when you hear people are out there and they're down on their luck, you just send them part of your money?
Well, sure. You remember the program with the old millionaire who sits in the chair and he gives money away?
Sure.
Imagine a lot less money.
Are we talking
$1.25 here or there to deserving people around the country?
Now, is it uncomfortable for you, a Jew, to be giving money?
Look, I'm not religious. I haven't been in a long time. I'm primarily a socialist, and what I believe in is, personally, being as unsuccessful as possible.
He does break out in hives, though, when he does cut the checks. You can see it.
Really?
His body rejects it, unfortunately.
So it's just the struggle between your actual heritage and your beliefs. Well,
That's right.
gosh, Mr. Trump, I mean, you haven't been on the show before. We've never met before. But
Never. It's a real. I mean, I got to tell you first off, Scott, what you did. You know, you took a failing comedy death ray that went bankrupt, and I know this, and and I shared this experience. It went bankrupt, and you had to make a massive loan, $1 billion loan.
Sure.
Because of course you have to make it public. And what you've done, Scott, has been unbelievable.
Thank you so
turned
much.
It around. There's gold panels in this room.
well, they're
It's absolutely beautiful.
they're yellow painted soundproof cushions, but yeah.
I don't hear
Don't
that part.
downplay it.
Sure. Okay.
It's
Yeah, they're
very
gold.
Yeah, you need to say you want to be a winner, Scott. Then they're gold panels. I mean, there's a beautiful 18-year-old girl sitting here with sushi on her.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
anyone can eat.
That's one thing that I request for my show. Yeah. So
I have 4, but usually I use my daughter mostly.
you use Ivanka to eat sushi off of?
Well, I eat Ivanka out, and then I have the sushi.
Oh my gosh.
I've already said this. I would marry my daughter if she wasn't my daughter, and now I don't even care.
I do similar stuff, but it's always with my wife and only with oatmeal, and I let her do the same thing to me.
Wait, your wife eats oatmeal off of your?
me, yes.
Oh gosh.
Well, look, that's the beauty of married love.
I guess so. So, guys, I mean, it's interesting because one would think that you guys would be diametrically opposed.
You would think it would
belief.
be like it would be like apple cider vinegar and white distilled vinegar.
But that's very good for you in the morning and helps alkalinate your blood.
Right, interesting. But you guys are going on tour together.
That's right. Look, you wouldn't think opposites like this could get along, but sometimes I think it's an exchange of ideas, in my view.
I think it's a wonderful opportunity. We're both from New York, and ultimately, that's the sensibility that we share. He sleeps on the sofa bed in the suite. I get the king, and his wife, we put her in the toilet or in the tub. Either way, sometimes she likes to sleep sitting up, Elvis style. And, I mean, she has, there's one vein that runs from the back.
I don't appreciate you talking about my wife.
I'm very sorry, but she's the only person we have to look at because my wife, unfortunately, can't travel out of New York because of
ankle bracelet or something?
Prostitutes can't cross state lines when doing sex work.
Oh, I see.
You mean you're matrimonially wed to someone who you're paying?
You got to make money. I pay her, and then she makes money back. So it's double down every time.
Okay, interesting.
Look, it's been a wild time so far setting up the tour.
Yeah, so where are you guys going? You're traveling around the country, and what do you do in this tour?
Funny enough, we travel on a train with a little cafe car.
Yep. It's my own private train, and it doesn't have tracks.
What?
Yeah, it doesn't have tracks. It's a private train. It's just bare metal wheels against pavement. It's awful. It's a horrifying, screeching sound. You'd think it is the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse when we roll into Madison, Wisconsin.
Wow.
There's not enough rail infrastructure in this country, but we really wanted to do the thing where you get the back of the train and give a speech.
Sure, so you just go wherever you want to go, and no one can do anything to you because you're Donald Trump.
I will kill them. I'll shoot them. I always say,
I don't support that.
If I was in the motorcade
Sure.
in 1963, Lee Harvey would have 2 in his head. There's no way. There's no way. I'll tell you right now.
Yeah.
So I encourage people to point guns at me.
You would have been one of those good guys with a gun that we hear about.
I am a good guy with a gun, and I'll go shoot someone on Sunset, come back in here, and I'll be even more popular.
Wow.
This is an issue where I have a slight difference of opinion with Mr. Trump.
It's very slight.
Well, look, I think I have a polite disagreement on the policy. I don't believe it's shooting anybody on Sunset Boulevard or in a 4-mile radius around Central Hollywood.
Sure, but I mean, as you're from Vermont.
Vermont, a rural state, you're getting into the issues.
Sure, yeah.
Sure. Look, I think I'm in a unique place to have a national consensus on gun control. And I think I can achieve it by waving my arms in a delicate manner.
You're doing that right now, almost like you're a maestro conducting an orchestra.
Sure, conducting the country in such a way that I could be like, put that one down, maybe keep that one if you're just going hunting or something, and I think you can come to a consensus.
You're going to do this personally?
Yep, I'm going to conduct the country into solving the gun control problem.
Wow.
I personally believe I agree with Bernie in a way. I really believe everybody should have a gun, as Bernie's just said. And I think that what people should do... I
have a D- rating from the NRA.
I understand that, but I think everyone should walk...
Still, that's D- is still not an F.
Well, it's not it's not a bad grade. That means you did some of the homework and you didn't turn in the final paper.
That was Donald Trump Jr.'s average for his entire education.
Really?
I want every citizen to walk with a gun pointed out constantly, as if they're a cop. Just everyone walking, facing each other, pointing them at each other all the time. Everyone will feel so safe.
I have a hard time seeing how Donald Trump's worldview is any different from the old Contra video game.
It isn't.
Where you're just running around shooting fireballs at monsters all the time.
It's one of my favorite games. And those monsters are immigrants, and I shoot fireballs at them constantly. You know, my father also gave me a box of nails and wood to play with, but what I would do is crucify people who we had to evict from his apartments in Brooklyn. I would crucify them, put them up in front of the building, so that other people
As a warning.
As a warning, just like Count Dracul.
And I grew up, look, Donald Trump's from Queens, I'm from Brooklyn. We're calling this the G-Trade election.
Right, the G-Trade. Because do you think you're both going to be the nominees?
Yeah, so then why do you think we would do this? We're the most likely nominees in either party.
We're ultimately most likely, and we're winning every day. And I don't see this train stopping, even if we grind into the pavement. It doesn't matter. And my personal belief is I want to get rid of the president-elect. Period. I want to just get elected and immediately go in there.
And just step right in. So the balloons drop and then you're just like, out of here, Barry.
That's exactly right. I'll be like, I'm sorry, who's this black guy robbing this Oval Office?
Wow.
And I don't think that's fair. From a policy point of view.
From a policy, but...
I don't think that's fair. Aside, from the racially charged language, I think you need a little, a 2-month period to have a changeover of the White House.
Right. I mean, a guy needs to gather his stuff, put it in boxes.
And you need 2.5 months to gather your stuff in boxes and then do some backdoor last-minute political deals.
And pardon some people.
Sure.
I like those pardons that happen like right before the person leaves. It's just like, I don't care. Anyone who's murdered anyone, who cares?
I'm not going to wait till the end. When I'm elected, the first day in office, I'm going to pardon everybody.
To everybody?
Sure.
No one will be in jail anymore.
Nope. Everybody's going to be set free. Everybody running around. A general pardon for everybody.
What about the making a murderer guy?
All right, I got an exception.
Oh, really? He's going to stay? Just him?
Anybody who says, what about this guy? That one person until,
okay.
But, if there's nobody objects, they're pardoned.
Exact opposite. Everybody is going to be jailed except for Stephen Avery and Bill Cosby.
Those two will be out.
They're going to be out, and we're going to put them on a really great sort of Smokey and the Bandit road trip. And the first one, I don't want any of that 2 or 3.
Sure.
Especially 3 when the trucker's driving. I don't even understand why they made that movie.
I have a problem with those irresponsible cinema pictures. I think they glorify driving too fast on the highway.
You don't like movies in general?
No, I don't have a problem with movies. I'm a big fan of Netflix documentaries.
Okay.
The future of food.
Okay.
The smartest guys in the room, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that Smokey or the Bandit are a good role model for young drivers.
Okay, yeah. Gilbert, where do you lean towards on the political spectrum?
That last Smokey and the Bandit.
Ah, yes.
Or was that Cannonball Run that had Jerry Reed?
Cannonball Run.
Cannonball Run had Jerry Reed.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, I think the second Cannonball Run with Frank Sinatra, who's he obviously he shot it on a totally different day.
There are these scenes where you'll see the back of the head, and the back of the head even doesn't look like Sinatra. And then there are these scenes too where Burt Reynolds is in a car and he yells out the window, "Hey, Frank!" And you see like a totally separate shot, like filmed a year ago in another country with Frank Sinatra going, "Hey, yeah."
What if the Rat Pack was replaced by 3 other assholes?
That sounds a lot like me, Donald, and I'm moderating.
That's exactly right.
It depends. It would have to be more assholes because you're only considering Frank, Dean, and Sammy.
You got Peter,
and Joey.
Oh, of course, yes. We're talking Joey from Blossom.
Joey Lawrence.
From Blossom.
Joey Lawrence. Yeah.
Joey Lawrence from Blossom.
I think one of the most iconic performances of the early 90s.
Whoa.
Wait, so you're a fan?
I'm a huge fan of Blossom. I think, Blossom's friend Six was so attractive. I love the relationship between the father and the daughter on Blossom.
Okay, yeah.
Very intimate, and I think that they did a lot of duets and piano, and I'm sure there was a lot of fun upstairs in the bedroom afterwards.
I didn't watch much of the program, but I did read about it a lot in Disney Adventures at the time.
Oh, okay, great.
I would say my favorite scene from Facts of Life, though, which was a great show, was when Tootie wanted to play Eleanor Roosevelt, but she couldn't because, of course, she was black. And I would support that. I would actually put that in the Constitution, that script.
Hey, can I say...
And I disagree.
My favorite part of Different Strokes.
Yes. Was it when the Maytag repairman came by?
No, that was a great one. Don't get me wrong. That was terrific. But there was one where,
the maid Pearl had seizures?
No. What's his name again? Not Gary.
Not Gary Coleman, but Todd Bridges.
Todd Bridges' character is going out with this bad white kid. Yeah, because he's bad, so they couldn't.
The bad influence.
Yeah. So
leather jacket, switchblade, etc.
And they would go out drinking together, and then they get into a car accident, and they're in the hospital. And, Todd Bridges just has the tiny Band-Aid on the forehead that actors get when they're...
Right. He didn't want to sit through makeup of getting a scar.
Yeah, so he's got the little thing there.
Yeah.
And then the doctor comes out because he says, how's my friend Bobby? And he goes, Bobby didn't make it. and Todd Bridges... at the ultimate of his acting, starts crying. And he says to Mr. What's his name?
Drummond.
Mr. Drummond, a good family friend.
Based on me.
He says to Mr. Drummond, he says, he's crying, and he goes, look at me. I'm crying like a little boy. And he goes, no, son. You're crying like a man.
Oh.
And the titles came up with no music.
No music.
Yes,
oh,
that
wow.
was when you knew you saw something
powerful.
Very serious. I would have had them both executed on the spot.
And there was the one with Robicio, whatever his name was.
Robicio Giovanni.
Something like that. On Fresh Prince.
Oh, yes, of course.
The dancing...
the dancing fellow.
The black guy with no rhythm was...
Right, yes.
Look, Gilbert, I'm familiar with the episode, with the hospital and the injury. And
what do you think about that, Bernie?
I think it's unfortunate that a young man who merely wants to get in a little bit of trouble drinking beer cans has to die in the hospital simply because he can't afford health care. I think when you're in a first world country, one of the most advanced in the world, to have a young punk who has half of a shaved head and like one little earring and goes, hey, mister, I want your money, for him to die in the hospital because nobody would pay for it, I think is bad.
Yeah.
And what do you... Mr. Trump, would you adopt Todd Bridges and fuck him?
Yeah, you say it was based on you.
Yes, first off, it was based on me. It was originally Mr. Drummond, and then they had to change it more for legal reasons. I am a man of means. I used to adopt...
And you were born.
Oh, I was born, for sure. And although some people, I would want to tell you this, though, I am really sort of a manifestation of an Orange Julius stand.
Right.
The spirit of an old Orange Julius entered my body and has never left. Now,
I'm a little bit like a stale pina colada that's been sitting out for a while.
That's right. We were both deck drinks. Now, I adopt 2 black boys every year, but by the end of the year, they're pushed down the garbage chute in Trump Tower.
Wow.
Is there like a Star Wars garbage chute where people are conspiring to come back against you?
They could get out. There is closing walls. They have an opportunity.
And there's a monster underneath the swampy liquid.
A very thin monster under a very thin layer of water.
This reminds me, absolutely true. When Dana Plato,
from Different Strokes, of course,
she hit rock bottom right away, and so to support her drug habit, she was going to hold up a video store.
Yes, that's right.
And the guy called the police and said, I was just robbed by the girl from Different Strokes.
That's when you're famous, you can't be committing.
You can't commit a crime.
Those kind of crimes.
That's what Bill Cosby found out.
Yeah, I mean, other than the famous person in front of us who may have committed several crimes.
I one time actually was snorting a big pile of cocaine, and it turned out to be Ted Knight. And I pulled him out of my nose from too close for comfort.
Wow.
Yeah. So
was Jim J. Bullock involved as well? Or?
Jim J. Bullock was in the attic, of course.
Oh, of course.
Of course he was. Monroe.
Jim J. Bullock actually vacuums my offices in the Senate for free, and the
Really?
vacuum always gets away from him.
Oh, okay.
Jim J. Bullock will have a place in either administration. I'll say that right now. Okay, and Shadow Stevens if he wants it.
Sure.
Because we're going to do a Hollywood Squares style Supreme Court. So we'll have the center square is the Chief Justice, and then of course we'll have people present their cases.
We want high daytime ratings for the Supreme Court decisions.
For sure.
Mr. Trump, if you're elected, what will the cabinet positions be? How will they be feel? I mean, we had Sarah Palin join you on a stop the other day.
Sarah's really great, and what she did was so wonderful endorsing me. And she also distracted me, with her vest. It was a really great emotional, for me, a great experience because I like shiny things. What I would do is I would probably take half of the staff of Vanderpump Rules and immediately put them in the cabinet.
Sure.
And then I would take Omarosa and Bethany and both have them be the secretaries of Exterior and Interior.
Okay.
But what's more important is I would go right to the National Archive and I would take both those documents, the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. I would take a huge Sharpie and I would just write no more over it.
No more.
No more.
Really?
As a statement to myself. I would then put them back and I would write a new Constitution.
Really? So what are some of the things
I
that
don't
would
see
be
how
in
that's
this?
different from the Joker in 1989's Batman.
Why so serious?
Would you play Party Man while you did this, or would you?
I would play Party Man and I would yell, "Are you going to dance with the devil by the pale moonlight?" Now,
We got a live one here.
I want to make it clear, I'm not the Batman to his Joker. At most, I'm the reporter with the baseball bat.
Oh, okay. You're Billy D. Williams.
Right, I'm going to be like, hey, you shouldn't do that.
Right.
I think what I would do is repeal the 14th Amendment. That's the most important
Which
thing.
one is the 14th? I don't have them
It
memorized.
guarantees citizenship to people born in the United States.
Oh.
There are a lot of young Latina women who it's like a football game, and they're pushing their pusses right over the border and just popping out that football into the United States. They are crossing the line just to get that baby in there, and it's got to stop.
If I might.
Sure,
if
yeah,
I could-
please,
if I-
go ahead.
if-
No,
if-
Bernie,
I believe
no
I
one's
was-
stopping you.
I believe I have a chance to respond.
Yeah, no one is
There's a
standing in your
chance
way.
I believe if I might.
No, you can.
I think that's classically racist.
Well, I'm a classic guy. All right, I do classic racism, okay? I ignore waiters who are different colors than me. I say things like, "Oh, hey, brother," if I meet a black guy. I immediately change how I talk.
I want to point out, if I could, I refuse to sit down and be waited upon in any restaurant.
Really? You
always-
get there behind the kitchen? And
I might say, I want this, but I'll go ahead and fix it. And I go back in the kitchen, I make it myself. I go and eat. When I'm done, I take it back, I bust it myself, I clean it up.
And then you take whatever is out of your wallet and you distribute it evenly
Sure,
amongst
because
everyone.
and that's just a thank you for letting me use your table and all that.
Sure.
I run in and throw myself into a table, knock it over, lie down, and yell, "Feed now." And then I have people just bring food, throw it onto me, and then I rob the place on the way out.
If I may interject,
Oh, please, Gilbert, yes.
there was an episode of Family Matters
Sure.
where Urkel finds out about gang violence.
Oh, really? He didn't know about it before then.
He was a big nerd.
Actually, Urkel Jaleel White is somebody that I'm talking to as an advisor on gang issues.
Really?
Yeah, for my administration. Sure.
He learned so much about them from this episode that now he's advising.
Also ended without music.
Oh, good.
As did the Fresh Prince, where the nephew finds out about racism.
Oh, yeah.
He's in his mid-40s, and this is first
I think that your Apprentice episode when you got fired ended without music, too.
yes,
It was such a tragedy.
Yes, it was very...
That's right. It was very, very sad. I had high hopes for Gilbert. I really did.
Who were you up against, Gilbert?
I was up against... Oh, I was there with Geraldo Rivera.
That's right.
Lorenzo Lamas.
Sure.
The llama.
I'll never pronounce this name right. Ian Ziering.
Ian Ziering, yeah.
Ian Ziering, yeah.
And then the girls were
unimportant. Who cares about their names?
Oh, one was a Cosby kid.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Keisha Knight Pulliam, maybe.
Maybe.
Yes, maybe. Keisha Knight pulled pork. She was great.
If I might interject.
No one's stopping you. Please, just go ahead.
I believe I have a time for approximately 30 seconds.
Please.
I don't know if America knows this, but I had a failed pilot that was along the lines of The Apprentice.
You did?
My own, but it was a socialist in orientation. It was not capitalist.
Donald Trump would fire people. What would you do?
It was called the faculty facilitator, and I would bring the contestants in one by one and have office hours and just talk to them like I'm the professor advisor.
Really?
Yep.
And it was not popular?
Well, no. It was always the door would be open, and the camera would come in and push the door open. It would have been cracked, and I was just there grading papers with cats roaming around, and I'd go, "How's it going? Are your classes going okay?"
And was it celebrities who would come in, or
academic celebrities?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see
Cornell West.
Okay.
May I just say...
Stephen Jay Gould, the great evolutionist. I've watched the pilot.
I sat down with Frank Rich.
Very boring. Originally, The Apprentice was way different. I've told you this, Gilbert, when we were on breaks. I wanted to have someone get shot execution style if they were fired, and then people who were runners-up hung like Mussolini upside down and be gutted. But also, I wanted the women. The women could never actually run a business.
Sure.
It was just whether they spent a night in bed with me.
Wow.
And it was, but my daughter always comes first. In more ways than one. And I want to really stress how much sex I have with my daughter. I want to stress
we get it. We understand.
I just want to do.
Yeah. Gilbert, you were going to say something?
Yes, I want to say what an honor it is working with Seth Rogen.
Oh, look, look, I've heard that we have a vocal similarity.
Yes, with Seth Rogen and Jason Miller.
Look, Gilbert, you mentioned you're from Brooklyn as well.
Yeah, two Brooklyn boys here.
That's fantastic. I might have been there a little bit before you. People don't know this, but I grew up in the radio days, the Woody Allen movie.
Wait, you grew up in that movie?
My childhood was in radio days, and I actually I pulled myself, I walked out of the movie.
Really?
Yes, which is also...
Like the Purple Rose of Cairo style?
Purple Rose of Cairo.
So that's where he got that idea?
Woody Allen has stolen several major biographical magical things from my life. Wow. I grew up inside of radio days, right there in Coney Island. I heard that you said that.
Yeah.
Wow. Do you ever go to the Cyclone?
Yeah. Do you know that Mia Farrow...
No, the answer was no.
Mia Farrow...
I'll take my answer off the air.
In the middle of all those trials, said that Woody Allen's son was actually Frank Sinatra's son.
Yeah, that's Ronan.
Ronan Farrow, the Ronan.
What was... I always Marine...
One.
The one who's Mia Farrow's mother, Jane and the Tarzan.
Oh, Mansfield? No. Who am I thinking
Jane. She had her head chopped off.
Yeah, I can't remember who Mia Farrow's.
Oh, God.
Isadora Duncan.
I think Maureen O'Hara, somebody like
Maureen O'Hara.
But here's a great Hollywood rumor.
Okay.
I heard. And I'm going to say it's true.
Okay.
It's either Maureen...
Hollywood Facts.
Yeah. Maureen O'Hara.
We should play that song.
Could someone look up if it's Maureen O'Hara or Maureen O'Sullivan?
I'm going to look that up.
Maureen O'Hara just passed away. Very sad.
Very sad. I'm looking it up here. Okay. Continue with the story.
Yeah. Well, it's better if you could tell...
what the name is? Here we go. All right. Here we go. Mia Farrow. Can I get a look it up, Scotty? Look
Farrow's
it up.
mother, yeah.
Okay. Mia Farrow mother. We are coming up as Maureen O'Sullivan.
Maureen O'Sullivan. Okay.
Gorgeous one.
So the rumor is, and, never been proven, blah, 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 allegedly. The rumor is that when Mia Farrow was going to marry Frank Sinatra, the reason Maureen O'Sullivan was so upset is because she had been fucking Frank Sinatra years ago.
Really?
And Mia Farrow is his daughter.
And is his actual daughter?
Yes, that's how the story goes.
Wow, that's amazing.
I love it.
And that was a little bit of Hollywood Facts.
Yes.
Nice.
This is our Hollywood Facts theme
Well,
song.
it's Hollywood Facts, and we're going downtown. Going to Inglewood now. Everybody do your facts and know your stars. There's glitz and glamour and lots of bars. Get a drink at a club, then go walk in front of Chinese theater. Hollywood Facts. Take out your dick.
Check out the facts. It's the Hollywood Facts.
Bro.
Mr. Trump, how do you feel about the Schwarzer singing that song?
Well, first off, anytime someone mentions a Schwarzer,
Your ears prick up.
my ears prick up and my prick sticks up too. And I'll say this because everyone knows racists only hate other people because they want to have sex with them. And I mean, it's true. It was true for Hitler.
That's why I don't hate anyone, because I'm good not having sex with most people.
Yeah.
Very true. I'm very, very, very sexual. I just wanted to tell you, I actually have a white cabbie in a private zoo in New York.
Really?
Yes, I have the last white cabbie with a cigar, and we keep him in a zoo.
Is he jerking off as well?
Of course he is.
Yeah.
Well, he has a pump. It's like a tube, and then
sure.
I use that to make protein blocks that I eat all day.
Interesting. Wow, guys.
I used to actually go to the zoo and maybe hang out there, smoke a cigar. Back when I was young, just to cut down on costs.
Wait a minute. Maybe Dick Van Dyke was looking at you?
I'm not going to say it's a one-to-one connection. It's possible. I wasn't the only one. There were a lot of us.
Was there a time where you spent like 4 years in a plexiglass box? Do you remember this?
Well, yeah, but I could come and go as I wanted.
That was my zoo.
Really?
I think I kept you in my zoo, Bernie, because I remember you're very loud.
I just remember there was a nice, affordable place where I got to do work done and there wasn't too much noise.
Well, you were so agreeable. I mean, most people, you have to put a bag on their head or shoot them with a tranq dart. You came willingly because you said, it's a place to stay.
On your own volition.
Sure.
Oh, my
Now,
goodness.
Mr.
nice little
Trump
working
and Mr. Sanders,
Thank you, Mr. Gottfried. Senator Gottfried. Yeah, I yield my time.
are you familiar with the Good Times episode?
Florida, of course.
I'm hoping we get into the urgent issues like old sitcoms all on the way to.
I think it's a very urgent issue what Florida did. And what about when that girl got burned with that iron? Terrible. Really terrible. Really awful.
The episode where John Amos has a heart attack and dies, and Florence is holding up very well and being really strong until she's washing a bowl, and she either drops it or throws it to the ground and goes, damn.
Yeah, powerful.
That's right, because she knew that he had not renegotiated for that season because he felt that JJ's character was a minstrelization of black culture. And she went, damn, I'm still stuck on this show. That was just the actor. I knew her before she died in Driving Miss Daisy.
She didn't know the cameras were rolling.
She really died. You know that. In Driving Miss Daisy, she actually did die.
Really? During
Yeah.
the filming?
She died when she drops those peas. That was for real.
Oh, my God.
I was on set because I was Jessica Tandy's handler for a number of years.
Mr. Trump, if you become president, are you going to divorce your current wife? Sorry, when?
We will have the first White House divorce. That's something I'm going to promise. There's been White House marriages with Dick Nixon. It was really wonderful.
Right.
We're going to have a tremendous divorce. It's going to be a huge affair, and then immediately I'm going to marry my daughter.
Fantastic. Because you're going to rewrite the rules on this.
I'm rewriting incest law immediately, but only for people who make over $150 million a year.
Okay, wow. Amazing.
Look, when I'm president, I'm going to have a recommitment ceremony with my
that's
wife.
beautiful.
And I think her name is Jane.
You haven't seen her in a while. You've been out
We're
on the road
a lot, and I'm a little bit older, so it's hard to remember some things. But we'll have a little recommitment ceremony. I'll get like a nice little ring, but it's not going to be an expensive anything like that. It'll be, like just an aluminum ring or something.
Guys, I want to give you one last chance to.
That's my major platform.
If I may, Mr. Trump and Mr. Sanders.
Senator Gottfried, yes.
Do you remember the important episode of The Munsters?
Yeah, which one?
Where Marilyn had an abortion.
Look, I think
That one I don't remember.
I think it was very important for her to be able to do that.
It was on set. First off, it was on set. It wasn't part of the show. I think we're confusing. That was the episode where Eddie got a bank account, and she had an abortion in between takes.
I am
remember.
100% pro-choice, and I think that transcends the bonds of normal human species. I think if
Really?
you're
Even
slightly
monsters.
a mutated monster, I think that if you're female, you have, whatever creature you are, you have the control of your own body.
I think every monster's life matters, and I want to end all Planned Parenthoods and start Planned Womanhood, which is going to be a new form of government protection. We're going to send women in, and they get a lobotomy, and until they have a baby, they hold that part of the brain in escrow, and then they get it back once they have the child. I think it's great. It would make them more docile and more willing to listen.
Interesting.
And when Grandpa was performing the abortion on Marilyn,
oh, my gosh.
Fred Gwynn was there going, darn, darn, darn.
Because they couldn't say damn yet on TV. Yeah.
I feel like we're playing with action figures.
Well, guys, when I say guys, I mean Mr. Trump and Mr. Sanders. I want to get.
Senator Sanders,
We're running out of time. Senator Sanders, sorry,
you.
we're
Just
running
call me
out of
Trump.
time. You're just Trump, no Mr.
Call me
Call me
Bernie.
Trump, just Trump.
Okay,
Trump.
Bernie and Trump.
Sure, Donald. How you doing?
Very good.
We're running out of time. I want to give you each just 60 seconds to make your plea to the American people before we have to go to plugs and get out of here.
Do you mind? This is a great country. It's one of the best in the world, but we're losing. And we're losing all the time. And we're losing big. And it's really a shame. When I think about China and how China is so much better than what we're doing, and I have the same policy on women and China, which is China is our enemy. And I believe, first off, that we're going to lose and win at the same time. But when I'm president, we're going to be winning. You're going to be so sick of winning, we're going to have to create a new healthcare plan just for people who are sick of winning. And this sickness, this winning sickness, is going to be terrible. You're going to get thin. You're going to get blotches on your skin. You're going to be you'll have no immune system. This type of winning is going to be very, very infectious. It will kill off a lot of people. And the last thing I want to promise, and what you'll get if I'm president, is radical Muslims are very, very unfocused. And that's the big problem with radical Islam. I promise to build places where they can focus in the United States called concentration camps.
Okay.
So that they can concentrate and learn how to
And
focus.
that happens to be about 60 seconds.
And that's it. Thank you.
All right, Senator Sanders, Bernie.
Look, this is an issue that Mr. Trump and I have some disagreement on.
Sure.
I respectfully disagree. I think that America doesn't need to look at everything like a competition, like the rich versus the poor. I don't think we need to say, am I winning in this moment or losing in this moment, like Donald Trump does in every moment that he's alive. I think we should look at the world more like a jigsaw puzzle. That the whole family's going to sit around and help each other and cooperate to help make the jigsaw puzzle about 90% before you give up on it and start fighting with each other after I'm out of office. Specifically, I believe in a woman's right to choose whatever she wants, not just an abortion, anything. Women should be in charge, and men should only get to do things if they have the written consent of a woman, like a little what do you call it, a field trip card,
like a release
form. Yeah.
Sure.
I believe, and this is my belief, and this is just me. I believe that young college students should not only be able to smoke legalized marijuana, wherever it is.
Yes.
I think anyone who is a senior in college, any 4-year institution, should get psilocybin mushrooms. Not the head. I think the stem should be free and subsidized by the federal government.
Wow.
I also believe anyone under the age of 25 experimenting sexually outside the normal orientation should have a grant from the federal government.
Okay, I don't know about that. What kind of experiments? Like with animals or with
consenting adults. If you're
Consenting
experimenting with a consenting adult, I think the government has an interest in it, and
it should give you some
like
money for that.
scientific research, but sexual research. I believe that the LGBT community should have those letters moved to the front of the alphabet.
So it would go LGBTACD. Okay, I don't know.
I think it's a great idea.
I don't know.
I really do. I have no problem with gay people.
We agree on that.
You have no problem with gay people?
I love every form of it. I say 4 men running a train, great. 2 guys, 1 girl. You want trans? I love trans. I love Trans Ams. I love Transamerica Airlines.
You like Transformers?
I love Transformers. I love the Trans-Pacific Partnership. So
I don't like the Trans-Pacific Partnership.
I'm a huge fan of all of it, and Caitlyn Jenner's in charge of every bit of it. Now, I just want to say, you have to size out your butthole. I don't know if you
What's
know
that? What are you saying?
Yeah,
I did that back when the Japanese surrendered at the end of World War II.
That's right.
I don't know what this means. Size out your butthole?
I'm supporting homosexual acts in every way. Sizing out for fisting. You want 6 people? You want to be 2 women going to Vermont to pick up wood? That's your business. You want to listen to the Indigo Girls while getting an elbow in your asshole? It's your business.
Mr. Trump, people who listen to Indigo Girls and get their elbows in the buttholes are a major voting bloc in my state of Vermont.
Well, we'll see who wins in Vermont then, because I've been to Plato's Retreat in New York. I've done everything. One time I had a 3-way with Linda Gray and Larry Hagman, and it was unbelievable.
Wow.
And the woman who played Miss Ellie was just watching, flicking her bean in the corner.
Okay.
Look, I sat in with some recording sessions with Fleetwood Mac, and let me tell you, I got to know him a little bit.
Okay, all right, guys. It's not a competition. Well, I mean, I guess it is a competition, but
It's
exactly
literally a
what it is.
competition.
Yeah.
There's the woman who played the mother on the pre-Parkinson's Michael J. Fox show.
Okay.
Is she a lesbian?
Do you mean Betsy Brandt from Breaking Bad?
No.
Oh, okay.
What?
Family ties.
Something Bernie.
Meredith Baxter Burney.
Yeah, is she a lesbian?
I don't. I would hope so.
Yeah.
Big ups to people of all different stars and stripes.
Absolutely.
I think that by law, everyone should have the right to have a hyphenated last name.
That's where we can agree.
All right, and Trump and Bernie.
Look,
what are you plugging?
We're not agreeing on much except 12 to 15 tour dates.
You guys are doing a tour together.
Sure.
And
We
where
don't
can
know how we're going to do it, but we're going to get along just enough to pull it off.
It's going to be a winning tour. It's going to be great. We're hitting every city that matters in the United States.
Well, when does this come out?
This week?
It'll come out this week?
Yep.
Okay, so first of all, I'm going to win the Iowa caucuses.
Okay.
And I'm going to win Iowa as well. And I'm going to ground Ted Cruz into Canadian powder. And then I'm going to snort him.
Look, we're not going to be performing there. I should clarify.
So this is we're recording this right before the Iowa caucuses, so we'll know the results. By
Sure.
this
So
point,
thank you for caucusing for me. That was very nice of you.
Right.
I don't know how it works.
You got to get out. You got to get out. I know it's cold, but
Right.
you got to get out there.
How do people get info on this tour?
We'll go to TrumpVersusBernie.com. We're going to be in...
TrumpVersusBernie.com. Is that VS Bernie or is it VER?
It's not Trump v. Bernie. That would be like a Supreme Court decision.
Dawn
And
of Justice.
We are suing each other
Okay. We
are
about
in
the
a
tour,
current lawsuit.
the terms of the tour.
He wants to make sure it's not versus spelled out. Correct.
V-E-R.
We're
RSUS.
suing each other over the spelling of the website.
That's right.
Okay.
But right now it's VS.
Okay,
We're going to be
VS.
in Madison, Wisconsin. We're going to be in Minneapolis. We're going to be in Chicago, where I went to school.
We're going to be in Burlington, Bernie's home state, which I almost created a major riot in. Manchester, New Hampshire, Portsmouth,
And Portsmouth.
Boston, Massachusetts, all the way down to D.C.
We're going to be in New York, Philly, D.C.
And I also do want to plug
Atlanta.
and
Where Killer
Portland.
Mike might be there, if I'm lucky.
That's right. And I would say get the DVD box set of Different Strokes. Really great show.
Great. I want to plug Comedy Bang Bang TV show. We're filming right now. Weird Al, of course, my new band leader. We're having a ball, and that'll be out in the spring. And, a lot of people have been writing to me saying they've been getting the season 3 DVDs, and they're great. I just got a bunch delivered to me. We have hours and hours and hours of special features on there. Yes.
If I might,
Yes,
if
you
I
may.
ask a question, if I
Yeah.
could just interject.
You raised your hand first, and I called on you, and then you asked if you could raise
I don't know any other way to talk except raising my hand.
I see. Go ahead.
Do you have anything available on Betamax?
I know. It's a DVD is a little outdated of the format. But
Well, no, it isn't. No, I'm saying
you're even worse.
I still try to watch things on Betamax. And
Really?
I'm mostly limited to Muppet movies.
Can I screen your show on the body of a 17-year-old runaway?
I guess if that's what you're into. Thank you so much, Bernie and Trump.
Thank you, Senator Aukerman.
I'm not a senator
Thank
yet.
you,
but
Secretary Aukerman.
Really? If you get elected?
Sure.
Secretary of what?
Secretary of Podcasting.
Okay, well, newly appointed. I love it. And Gilbert, thank you so much for being here. Big fan of you, of course, and I really appreciate you coming by to the studio here.
And I think the late Ron Palillo, who played Horseshack,
Yes.
was in fact a homosexual.
Okay, great. Some
This is
good
like-
Hollywood facts.
It's like the House of Un-American Sexual Activities Committee.
All right, guys, that's been our show.